Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All-Invitational Round of 4. I'm your host, Casey, or Uncommon, and today we have two good series of games between Riser and Exiled, and Nicro and Got Quail. The winner of each of these matches will go on to the All-Invitational Grand Finals to take place, hopefully live at a time and date to be future determined. But if you're here with me now, you've been following this journey, and you're ready to get in some games, so we won't hold you up too much longer. In fact, let's go ahead, and I think I have Got Quail and Nicro. We're going to queue that one up first. Game 1 is going to be on Catalyst LE. A great map, very standard macro map. A lot of openings and avenues of approach for both of our players. Let's go and kill our overlays because we don't do overlays while we're doing this. Actually, let's make sure I get my sound quality up. Open volume mixer. This is fun. All these like settings I would have loved to have gotten taken care of, or should have taken care of beforehand. Of course, there's a conflict resolution. I'm okay with that, ladies and gentlemen. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, the red Zerg, Got Quail, and his opponent. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, the light blue Protoss. It's Nicro. Both these players here hoping to claim their victory, move on, claim their title next week in the Grand Finals of the All-Invitational. Thank you for joining me here today. Those at home, hide and lock up your children. It's going to get bloody. It's going to get violent. It's going to get real down and dirty. Even Starcraft theme music's got the right tone here. It's pumping. This drone, are we going to have drone problems? We're not going to have drone problems. He's going to get the hatchery down before Nicro has anything to say about it. That is a hatch first from our red Zerg here today. Nice safe build against Protoss. Nothing that he can immediately threaten here. The fastest thing he can get across the map is Adepts, and he's going to have plenty of time to get out some queens, so he's feeling nice and safe. This probe is going to go over here and keep an eye out for that third. Back home, Nicro is should be taking equally safe base now that he sees the Zerg is not being, at least not being initially aggressive here. Okay, that might be a little louder than I wanted it to be. Let's tone that down just a bit. But anyway, he's safe to expand now. Nicro has the opportunity to do so now that his opponent has expanded and is not rushing over at a 12 pool. So good watch, good check there from Nicro. He's coming back in, take a peek at the base, see if he's got anything else to learn. He's going to see the spawning pool is just about done. And it's really the next couple buildings and the next couple larvae and their usage that will dictate the pace of the game here for the Zerg. Back home, we are seeing the cybernetics core. No double gateway, nothing, no kind of immense fast pressure. But in a few minutes now, as this game evolves, as this game kind of settles into its rhythm, we'll see what each of these players have in store. It looks like these links here are going to get this probe, and that's going to be the end of his scout. Just at about the right time, giving him a full view of the Zerg base, seeing nothing additional and nothing funky. We do have those adepts coming across, that first adept coming across the map. I love this continued information gathering by Nicro. Everything he's done has been keeping him well informed of the Zerg's progress. Now, he hasn't seen anything worthy of taking note on yet, but he knows there's a third base. He sent his probe in consistently, and then he's back up here with the adept, poking around at the front door, keeping the Zerg busy, and actually canceling that at the last second, taking a few pop shots at that third base. Back at home, Nicro is going Oracle, popping out another adept. Not a complete wall off yet. But he doesn't have to worry about link floods, and he doesn't have to worry about it because he's over here constantly checking. He's seeing what his opponent is up to. He's seeing that there is no roach worn down yet. He sees the constant drone production, and actually gets around there from the workers. They're going to pick off that adept. As the Oracle marches across the map, the adept getting a fair amount of value, not necessarily a lot of kills, But definitely a lot of information. Money is power. Robotics facility going down as he techs up. Not a lot of production down yet, just teching up to something. There's a tech plan now for Nitro. We'll see what he wants to do with that in just a few moments. It looks like the Queens and the Spores are down just in time. They're going to keep this Oracle from getting too much work done. There's one kill there. He's able to get a drone and go home. Now he's really got to utilize this Oracle throughout the game to make sure he gets his value out of it, to make sure this this tech up, if you will, up to Oracle wasn't wasted. But excellent Spore Crawlers. Excuse me, excellent use of Spore Crawlers there from Got Quail. Very defensive, perfectly timed. There's another Spore Crawler going down to save that drone. He should be canceling that momentarily once he knows this Oracle is safe and out of the way. Good Queen production, constant Queen production here from Nitro. Take a look at the energy of each of these Queens. Just now hitting 25 energy. He's 25 energy, keeping those nice and low, keeping his production up, and even injecting just moments after he was able to. Staying right on top of that macro game, ladies and gentlemen. If you learned anything from this, that's what it takes to hit Masters. That's what it takes to do well in the All-Invitational. Now, we do have a Warp Prism and a handful of gates going out for Nitro. It looks like this is the time he wants to at least do some light harass, if not some heavy pressure. 4-gate Warp Prism now flying across the map. Not spotted, has not been spotted by the enemy. Excuse me, by Got Quail. Not a lot of information, but we do have a Overseer coming across really fast. He's going to get everything he needs right now. He's going to see the gateway expansions. He's got 7 roaches in production to deal with this, so potentially a really good response. There goes the Templar being thrown down. We saw the Templar archives right there, and it looks like Zealot legs. So Zealot Archon, this is the direction he wants to go. As you can see right there, warping in Stalkers when he meant to warp in more Templar. So more roaches kind of gathering here on the front, but still continuing to drone up heavily. Really focusing on that supply. Hasn't really responded to what might have been super. Okay, responded perfectly to what we're seeing right here, which is light aggression. Zealots coming out now. Zealot legs are done. Going to juggle these and go home. The roaches are enough to push this away. The Queen keeping that constant threat on the Warp Prism. Take a look back home. Nitro did expand behind this. He's continuing to starting to pop out mortals now that he sees roaches have entered the battlefield. And there goes the Forge, so we can get onto his own upgrades. At about the 6.5 minute mark. Not getting a lot done with that pressure, not getting a lot done with that Oracle. Actually going to fly around here and start picking off Overlords. Good use of these units here. You either want to make sure they survive, you want to bring them back and use them in your army, but you definitely don't want to throw them away, and you don't want to have them sitting back doing nothing. It is money invested that you're not able to use right now. His opponent, on the other hand, completely saturated on 3 bases, and looking, I would say looking to do something soon. He's going to have the numbers advantage for a little bit, and as long as Protoss doesn't outmaneuver him, as long as Nitro doesn't weave around, rewind his attacks, he's going to be in a very good position very soon. Taking another quick look at the base. More gateways going down, getting that production up. He's going to have to face an attack nearly any moment now. So we're going to put some background music into this as we have an attack moving out. Archons, Zealots, some Mortals for the Roaches, a Warp Prism to continue up the harass. But on the other hand, on the other side, his opponent is starting to pop out Hydralisk, starting to put out more of an air threat, getting a Lurker Den ready, and that +1 range about to finish up. Or actually, +1 attack about to finish up for both of them. The attack goes down. The Immortals in the back doing lots of damage, but there are a lot of roaches on the field. There goes the first Archon. Absolutely pushed back now. Kind of a back and forth. It's hard to tell who's going to be here at the end, but the roaches and the Hydras doing a great job of dealing the damage they need to push this back. The numbers are dwindling even as I say that. The Immortals are getting so much done, getting juggled back here. 2 Immortals saved before they were falling. Queen's coming in to support this, taking out that Oracle. Oracle coming in, trying to get what it can done. But it's starting to steamroll, and it's starting to get pushed back. It's hard to tell right now who's going to come out the victor. Morphing in a couple more Archons, hoping to keep this pressure up. A couple Roaches coming across the map, hopefully for a nice counterattack to pull the enemy in both directions. The Immortal Zealot Archon pushing forward here, melting some of this front line. That charge doing massive amounts of damage. The Bile's going down. Oh, great juggling there of the Archon, pulling out of the way of that Bile just in time. And it's always hard to tell because the numbers are low, but these units are so strong. It looks like we're going to lose an Archon there. As soon as shields go down, they have no health. 2 Archons going down, really taking back some of the power of this army, but there are so many Immortals, even more marching across the field now as we're morphing in constant Zealots. This charge, this push, just the melting of units on all sides. Nothing is surviving. There are 5 Immortals on the field and nothing right now to challenge it. And there's a GG. Congratulations to Nicro taking the first match. We're just messing with music here, ladies and gentlemen, so congratulations to Nicro. Let's 0-1 as we're going to go into game number 2. Of the All-Invitational. Round of 4. This one taking place on Acid Plant LE. I'm going to go right into this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. These players have fought long and hard, and I'm sure they appreciate your attention. Hello, Ritters. Thanks for joining us again here today. All right. Now we're into game number 2. Take a quick look at this map. And let's get the music at the right volume for this, right? So, that seems good. That seems good. That seems loud. Wait a minute. I got buttons. I got control schemes. It's good, though. I'm a huge fan. But let's... There we go. Because StarCraft's not keeping up with the music well enough for my taste. Quick look at this map, because... small ramp from the main to the natural. Large open area here. Just like Catalyst, it's going to favor the attacker. There's not a ramp that he has to fight up. We can't see that scouting probe from Nicro again. And the third, so many options, either horizontally across the top or forward a bit. If you want to be more aggressive for the Zerg, you may decide to take this base. It's protected by some rocks, but they can be destroyed for multiple avenues of approach for your enemy. Now, let's introduce our players. Spawning in the top left-hand corner in the light blue, taking his first game, it is All-In's Nicro. His opponent in the bottom right-hand corner, the Red Zerg, hoping to come back and take over the pace of the game. It is Got Quail. Best of 5, first game to Nicro. I bet I got something. I'll figure this out. I'll figure this out. I'll figure this out. All right, we're good. We're just going to go. Taking a look at what's happened so far. We've had just a relatively safe, normal opening from Got Quail, a 17, 18, 17. Seeing this, as he did before, Nicro opts to expand at the right time, knowing there's no aggression coming. Kind of the exact same layout we saw last time. One pylon down here at the natural to support his gateway and his wall, pulling at that first adept that's going to go across the map. And then a pylon back here to support his tech choices, kind of keep that hidden from the front gate. So his opponent is not immediately aware of what's going on. But we're going to have 4 links coming over here to the third. Looking to find this probe, actually, to assist this drone, the next drone in the expansion, clear it out, keep him from playing those probe games. It looks like that queen's gonna handle him definitely. And position themselves right at the front to prevent further scouts. Kind of catch this adept as it comes across the field. Now this is always a dance. This adept can be dangerous. It can just be information, or it can actually be caught and killed. This first adept is very important. And looks like the queen is in position. He's going to catch it. This queen's going to catch the adept. These lings are going to try to catch the... Actually, the adept's going to finish its warp out, but he's going to be met by the other queen. He's going to see the early evolution chamber. And this is going to prompt him something, right? So what does this evolution chamber mean? It means a dropper lord. It means a dropper lord being morphed down here at the bottom. A handful of lings and queens. Potentially, actually looks like he's going to carry these queens across the map. Excellent use here. Get those queens into the battle. Get those dropper lords morphed in. Honestly, bringing these queens to the other side of the fight is going to give Nitro a lot of trouble. You see the shield battery going down as an immediate response. Actually, at the front wall here and back here with his probes. But we need to see army production quickly. Hey, thank you, Riddis, for hosting the stream. Army production is really going to have to be ramped up here if Nitro is going to hold this back. But he's actually teching up, bringing in more gas rather than gateways. I don't know if he's ready to handle this fight. I believe this may be got Quail. As long as these Banelings make some good connections where they need to make them, this wall potentially going to go down. But we don't need a wall when we're just going to bring the dropper lords up to the other side. Excellent aggression here as Queens being lifted up by these Phoenixes. Lings on all sides of this wall doing massive amounts of damage here. Critical tech structures about to start going down as these dropper lords are going to be pushed away, but there's no army here to answer it. There's no soon to be no pylons here. Excuse me. Pylons are still there, excuse my words, but probes are going down. Lings are still getting massive amounts done here. One queen down at the bottom, still focusing on that one Phoenix. Coming up here to get more probes. These lings are doing devastating amounts of damage. Necro doing everything he can to save them, pulling him into the gas so he can't focus to target fire. Then Oracle's coming in to knock out these lings, but there's so much damage. Your critical tech structures. There's all the pylons. They finally go down. No more warp ends are going to support this. This Oracle is out of energy now. His ability to support and prevent the constant ling flood greatly hindered now, as it looks like he might be just taking a moment to recollect himself, trying to save the last bit he can of this base before what I can only imagine is going to be a tap out soon here. These lings continue to march across the map, and there's a GG. And the second game goes to Got Quail, and looks like we're going to have ourselves a fantastic series. Tying it up 1-1 is Got Quail, telling the rest of you that this is not going to be a walk in the park here for Nitro. He's going to keep on the pressure, and he's going to make this his game. I love it when they set the pace, and we're going to go right into game number 3, which is going to take place on Black-Pink. If you're just joining us now, we are round of 4 All-Invitational. First match, Got Quail versus Nitro. It is currently tied up. We watched a really strong timing attack from Nitro, followed by a really hard all-in from Got Quail that last game. Take a look at Black-Pink on our map. We have a double ramp situation here, a ramp going into the natural, but a large ramp coming from the natural to the rest of the map. This gives the advantage to the defender, gives him a better concave, and gives him the first shot, essentially, at this location. The expansions continue usually taking a third base, either in this location or closer to the main, close by air, but really far by ground, and closer to the enemy, providing multiple attack paths and just an overall, I guess, weaker third base, harder to defend. So, that being said, let's get into our introduction. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, the light blue Protoss, it is Nitro. His opponent in the red up here, tying up the game last series with the Queen drop aggression on the other side, dropper lords for the win. It is All-In's Got Quail. There goes the spawning pool, 17, 18, 17. Opening for Got Quail, spotted by Nicro, which is going to allow him to expand down here in his natural. I really do like the usefulness of this probe. He uses it until he loses it, right? So he sits it over here, tries to spot a third, and then after a while, he'll move up here to try to spot anything his opponent is doing. Try to use this, at least get in here a handful of times to see his opponent transition, see the transition, see if there's any cheese. He's constantly gathering information, and this is kind of Nicro's advantage. Now, I will say last game, he saw something. He saw the evolution chamber go down really early, but his response, I don't know how strong it was. I don't know if that's a moment where Protoss throws down more gateways, or it's just a couple shield batteries and working off of one gate, one starport, or maybe he was just already in a bad position with his current build. So it really is just a tough thing to hang on to when you put all your trust in a wall that goes down at the cost of a couple hundred minerals and a couple hundred and a little bit of gas. So, overall, tough position. We'll see if Got Quail decides to go in that direction again, and see if that's his path to victory, because I don't know if Nicro has a response to that right now. I don't know if he has a plan, if he spots it earlier. It was about this time when the Adept came in that he saw that go down, and he was able to gather that information, mostly because he didn't cancel that shade. So if we were to see it go down to get right about now, that evolution chamber, we could see more Dropper Lord play. We actually have an Overlord coming into position here. We might need... Oh, actually, instead of a Stargate first, we see it was a robotics facility here for Nicro. So a little bit of a different tech path. But he's also not going to be able to push away these Overlords as effectively if Got Quail wants to use them. But we do see Got Quail taking the scouting path here, deciding he wants to take a look around the base, get the information he needs to get. He's going to see the Twilight Council was first, or the Twilight Council in production, but the robotics facility was the first tech structure. And he's going to get a good look at that warp prism coming out right now, and that's a good thing to spot. Two gateways available for production, and Zealot legs coming out. So possibly, there we go. There's the Templar Archives. Another Zealot. I was hoping to go back to that Zealot Archon Immortal build that we saw earlier that won him game one. Spore crawlers are going down. Actually, only one spore crawler. I like that response. He noted there was no star yet, but already had one in production, deciding not to make the rest of them, knowing he's going to need something else to handle this push. And I like this, just two Adepts, safety shade there so they can get out of here when they need to. And that'll let them shade out and be picked right up and taken away in the Warp Prism. So light harass there, able to get a little bit of damage done. Overlord here getting all the information he needs. Another gateway going down, increasing production. And a couple more pylons over here behind the mineral line. So really moving up to that four gate production. And bringing the Warp Prism back up into position. Going to morph in some Templars. Looks like we're going to get the Archon placed soon. The Observer actually coming over here, finding itself stationary in its in an area of high traffic. But a handful of links coming over here are going to get these Adepts. Excellent surrounds there. Oh, okay. Excellent surrounds there and no shade from Nicro. The Oracle moving positions here as the Archon being juggled around, trying to pick off this Overlord. And then actually a couple warp-in rounds for the Templar are going to bring another Archon. Double Archon harass. Very effective here if you have the Micro Fort Bow. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Nidus Swarm being thrown down for Got Quail. He says, "You can't ignore my Overlord. I'm going to come to you." And it's way out of position. It's not in the location where Nicro is going to easily be able to see that. It looks like the Queen... trying to get some damage done, but being target fired down by those Archons, more Roaches and Lingzo, trying to push that away. And now it's going to be about this moment where he leads just enough to defend, where he goes all in with his Nidus. But really, this Knight is just now being pushed away. not Nidus, the Vision just now being pushed away. Queen's making their way over to the Nidus Worm. Let's see where he decides to plant this. There we go. Right there in the main base. He gets the Nidus Worm down just before this Overlord finds his death, and all the army that he would have moving over here now. We're going to see how effective this is. There we go. There's the response back at home. There's Zealots being morphed in. There's Queens being dropped. Queens are now in your base. Lings flooding out here. Roaches, Lings. Really here, it's going to be about the use of these Queens and their ability to inject health. How many units is he going to get over here out of this Nidus Worm before it goes down? All that target fire on the Nidus Worm, as the Queens are able to inject that out, or keep it alive for just a little longer. And if he wants to, he can just pop down another one right there, continue the attack. But there's so much damage being thrown down here as Queens are massive amounts of support, keeping themselves alive, keeping others alive, keeping the Nidus Worm alive until they run out of energy. And it looks like this is slowly losing steam as his Queens are pushing their way out of the battle. There we go, repositioning there. Ling's actually getting a gateway down, as it's just down to the 2 Queens on the other side. This attack kind of falling now as these Immortals do massive amounts of damage and are able to push back the full brunt. But while this is happening, we have another attack over here. Roaches, let's take a look at their kills. Not getting 2 kills here. Probably a probe or 2 and some Zealots. And it does look like he's sending over some additional Immortals here to help push that back. As more pressure actually deciding to turn around now. Gotquail is backed up and retreating, deciding this is not the right moment for this push. Morphing a handful of them into Ravagers, spinning a little bit of that excess gas. Now, he actually has a lot of minerals right now, floating over 1,400 minerals. He's dropping down another base so we can get the larva and production he needs to get that done. But he took all his Queens across the map. And maybe not enough Queens, maybe too many Queens, but he doesn't have the larva production, at least for a few moments there, to really stay on top of his macro. But moving up the 4 bases, going to give him a little bit to work with there. A little bit of pressure over here as they're poking around at this Overlord. The Nidus Worm is still a threat. It's going to keep Nitro at home. At least for a little bit, until he figures out where the army is. And you see that Overseer just picked it up. Units flooding across the map. Queen's actually marching in support of this army, and it looks like they're finally going to get this Overlord and knock him out of the game. Nitro actually supply blocked right now, dumping down a bunch of pylons. Bad time to do it, though. If Gotquail comes in now, getting in that support, getting a couple crystals, pylons along the way, he's going to push that back with some bios, engaging at the location of his choice. A couple more warp-ins, Zealots being warped in here. Very cheap unit, and he's got Zealot legs. He's got +1. Actually, no upgrades here for Gotquail yet at the 9.5 minute mark. I'm going to give him a little bit of a disadvantage here, and that's a lot of Immortals. That is a lot of army units, and he's only pushing with half his army here. The other half trying to get some damage done. These Lings going to face a warp-in of Zealots as the main army continues to march across the map, and it can pressure Gotquail. This damage over here, these Lings trying to find a place are going to get... Ooh, not a complete wall here as they get into the natural, just causing so much extra attention. This 4th resource here for Nitro, as these can get a lot of damage done if they're completely left alone. However, on the other end, they have this battle going on. The Archons, the Immortals, finding good positions. No Lings over here to help soak up the damage. There's a GG. Nitro takes game number 2. All right, we go into 1, 2. We're going to get into game number 3 now. Or, excuse me, game number 4. This could close out the match. This could end in the series in Nitro's favor. Gotquail needs this match to continue hanging on. Game number 4 is going to take place on Abiogenesis, so really right up Quail's alley. I expect to see a lot of pressure, a lot of early aggression because it's just a short distance. Now, Nitro's response to this has been strong in the past, strong in these games, but it is Gotquail's strength, as we see. If it goes in the mid-game, these Immortals start getting out. This Zealot Archon that he gets is just really giving Nitro the mid-game. So I do expect Gotquail to try to make this a fast game and end this quickly. That being said, let's introduce our players. In the top left-hand corner, the Red Zerg, it is Gotquail. His opponent in the bottom right-hand corner, in the light blue, all ends, Nitro. Nitro taking both his games with Zealot, Archon, Immortal. His opponent not having a response for that at the time that it marches across the map. Actually, really well handling the Nidus pressure from his opponent last game, pushing back what could have been the loss, and then even hanging back, macroing up, and easily pushing back the continued pressure of his opponent. But taking a look at this map, we are going to see a fast pool, and that does not necessarily mean early aggression. It could just mean early pressure. It's not necessarily an all-in, as we see this drone coming down here, potentially to expand, but being a little indecisive. There he goes. He looks like he's going to take this to probe. He's going to see this. And behind this, little bit of games here with the probe, hoping to take Got Quail off his pacing. And looks like he's gonna hand that over and get that. Down here, looks like Nitro is going to opt to take that natural. He does feel safe enough to do it right now, as the probe kind of continues a constant presence in this area. All right, let's get some more music. I hear a lot of static, so I'm sure you hear a lot of static right now. Oh no, not that atmosphere. Let's get some rhyme sayers going. There we go. Okay. Take a look around. Let's take an account of what's going on here. We have... There we go. Second gate going down here. Rather than attack structure, it does look like Nitro is opting for army units for production. But on the other end, we have a very pretty swift Roachwarren coming down. And no drones in production. He's actually cut drone production right now. He's building up some larvae, and it looks like he's going for a Roach all-in timing right now. He's going to take a poke over here and start dealing some damage to these structures. And as long as he's allowed to do this, this Adept can't see what he needs to see. This Adept actually being denied the information that would help him respond to this appropriately. Let's actually take a look, make sure I'm not talking out my behind, right? So, he does not know that there's a Roachwarren on the way. He does not know there are roaches marching across the map. He's seeing it now for the first time, and his response will dictate the pace of the game here. His response will dictate the game. Taking out all the shields and some of the health on that sentry is going to make this upcoming fight just that much more dangerous. You see these roaches poking around with this Adept here, but that Adept falling, not even being supported, not even able to be supported by the rest of his army. The fight now moving up to the wall of Nitro. There's a Ravager in play to keep back army units, keep back the units from forming a complete wall. More gateways coming down up this production, but it looks like they're going to get the Cybernetics Core, and they're not going to deny the upgrade. That is going to finish just in time for him to be able to warp in units. Ling's getting in though. Mini Pylon supporting this, Shield Badge supporting this, really giving a lot of meat. A lot of meat to the shields of these units, but it doesn't look like it's enough as more units continue to stream across the map. Actually deciding to focus here on this pylon rather than chase this stalker around. But he is back home. He actually is supply block. Got Quail needs to get more overlords. He has none in production right now. This will be the max size of his army for just a little bit, as he's so focused here on trying to clear his opponent. He's going to get this second pylon. That is going to prevent any more warp-ins, and the fight can be taken now completely up here. And there's Nitro tapping out. GG. He's tied up the game 2-2. It looks like we are going to get a game 5, and this is anybody's game. There's a cheer from Goner. Hey, thank you, brother. It's a pleasure. All right, game number 5 is going to be on Backwater. This is our Louisiana of maps, right? It's those so many attack paths, a safe third. Actually, before I get going on and gushing about it, let me get into this next game. Let's get into game number 5 and see who's going to be in the finals. Let's find out which player we're going to get to watch next week as he goes for the Season 13 All-Invitational Trophy. This is it. There's no games after this for these two players. It all comes down to this right now. Hey, joined here with me is Goner. Looks like we're going to have a double caster for the next game. That being said, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. Tired, but good. I was up till 4:30.
Wow, Fortnite the whole way?
Yep.
Well, before we dive into that, let's take a look at this map. I talked about that safe third, so we have this ramp that comes down here to the natural with a nice open attack path that usually it favors the attacker, but the third is tucked away here between the natural. None of this is accessible by ground, all of it by air, and you can even drop some nice units right there on the path just to the north of that, but a very secure third otherwise. I could see some Oracle harass going up there, getting some drones, but I still expect Gotquail to be very aggressive and very fast with this, and that Nycro's responses to this aggression haven't been the strongest yet. It's been different games both times. When we let Nycro get into the mid game, the game is his. He owns it. He walks all over Gotquail. The Immortal production is on point. The Zealot legs do massive amounts for him in the mid game. But on the opposite end of it, when Gotquail is across the map, before about the 5-minute mark, 6-minute mark, the game is his. It's one-sided in his direction. So really, I see Gotquail trying to put the pressure on this time, and if he tries to make this a macro game, I think he's definitely gonna find himself on the receiving end of Nycro's best game right here. I don't think you let Nycro get to the 7-minute mark, but we'll see. We'll see if that's how he feels, or maybe that's not even a good analysis of his gameplay over the last 4 games. You can't tell everything about a player in just a handful of games, but we are still seeing this constant information gathering by Nycro as he moves across into the main, and he's going to see nothing scary yet, but he's going to make sure he sees the all of it. So, how long do we have you today, caster number 2?
I'd say at least 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I turned my speakers up, so let me actually turn you down a bit.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's me.
No, I'm sorry.
You're like, let me be sorry. Turn that down. It means I gotta turn Starcraft up. There we go. So what we're gonna do after we get through all the All-Invitationals, I'm gonna go into the All-Invitation Civil War, which is a 13-game series that has been very hyped up. So before we get into the next match, I'll go and post some announcements there too. So it might have you for the full next 4 hours. We'll see. It's only 13 games. It's not 13 matches. So pretty set pace on things, and it will be, 26 different players. And we'll talk a little bit about what that is. It was kind of a it seems to have been like a, I'm not sure if it was captain's pick or not. Oh, good use there. This adept coming in, but I like the saving the drone there. Making the spore crawlers. There we go. Now we can cancel those and get those back in, because it does take 2 adept shots. I want to also take a note here of this overlord placement for vision right across the front line, trying to see all enemy movement into his AO. Pretty well spaced out here, and this Oracle's probably going to fall right into that net. That vision net that he's just created. It's right about there. Yeah, just barely if he's paying attention. If he's not paying attention, that'll be a different story. As there we go, the Oracle is in position. The Roachborn's going down. No third base yet. It is at the 4-minute mark, so I'm expecting some aggression, some kind of timing attack here. As he spotted the Roachborn, his response to this on this side, if we take an account of what's going on, that wall is just not finishing up. It looks like we're going glaives. So a lot of adept play, which now that the Roachborn's down, actually going for look like a quick hive or quick infestors as well. Adept play may or may not be the most useful thing, depending on the number of adepts that march across the field. But there's the Roachborn finishing up. And if we take a look at the production tab behind this, more queens, more spores. Actually, not a lot right now being made, or not a lot that Roachborn not being utilized, if I will, at the moment. No quick aggression, but still no third base. So really an interesting tech path here, and Overseer being morphed in. Some decent timing for that, but these adepts finding finding their shades, letting them complete. Looks like they're going to get a couple kills here if they can focus fire the drones before they're taken out. And there goes the Phoenix. Is going to start clearing out. Start doing some clearing as Oracle takes a lot of damage, almost going down here. As Phoenix is poking around at Overlords now. Queen Heavy, there it is. There's the Nidus Swarm. Nidus Swarm in production now. Looks like he is going for this aggression, but he's going for the aggression that didn't work the last time. This Roach Warren might have been a bit of a fake. Take a look at his vision. He did not get a chance to see the Nidus Swarm. He doesn't know it exists. A lot of queens, and actually, funny enough, oh man, tip of my tongue, unit values and words and things. He's going for the thing. Yep, that's me. That's what I just did. Damn it. Swarm Host. There it is. Swarm Host. Going for the Swarm Host. Swarm Host play with the Nidus Swarm. So we'll see if this is an all-in or more of a... You know, I got to say, it's all-in at this point. He doesn't have 3 bases. His opponent sees he doesn't have 3 bases. Everything is going to rely on this attack. And if we take a look at the vision now, he will see the Nidus Network. He's going to have to... He's taking these Oracles back home. He's going to have to find a response for this. Swarm Hosts, Queens, more Swarm Hosts in production, and actually morphing that in a safe location. Bring a safe location, not morphing it in his base. He's going to throw the Swarm Host out here. They're going to send the larva across the map. Or rather, across this airspace we talked about earlier, because the locusts fly up. And if we take account at how many of these are, 1, 2, 3, it should be about 10. We'll see if 10's enough to kill this base. They don't last very long, but they do disgusting amounts of damage while they do last. And looks like he's going to get those units out of the Nidus Swarm. And it looks like it only takes 8. It takes not even the full 8, because not all of them were hitting the Nexus for a while, to take out one base. And he's going to morph him in over here. He's going to bring some Queens to support this army. Couple of Locusts here to fight. Locusts actually fighting with the Swarm Host not being sent into the main here. Queens, a Queen going down, actually, and one Queen on low health, pushing away these Oracles. More Locusts being sent up to the high ground, and another finishing, taking out the Nidus Swarm that was on the bottom there. And it looks like these Immortals are going to have to hold in position as they're trying to find a purchase place to defend. Another Nidus Swarm coming down here somewhere. Yep, right back there where the third is. And he can maneuver back and forth between these two now very swiftly as he sends his Lotus at the front, sends his Lotus at the top. This aggression getting a lot of damage done. Down production, down an entire base. Although Queen's in position now, bad time for those Immortals as the Locusts are going to force him to retreat back just a little bit. And we might see a little bit of repositioning here from these Swarm Hosts. Is more in production. Just actually a constant production of Swarm Hosts. This is just like one unit thing that Zerg get to do, where they get to pick one unit that they really like and focus on it for most of the game here. Mass Roach, Mass Swarm Host, Mass Queen. They can do this. They can make the bulk of their army Swarm Hosts right here. And as you can see, now such a large number of Swarm Hosts that they can send their Locust in at alternating intervals, just kind of keeping constant pressure. And it's just 3 Immortals. A couple of Zealots now coming here to help tank some of this damage. But these Locusts are free units, and every moment they're fighting Locust is a moment that is actually free damage. So War Prism now. Moving across the map, maybe hoping to take this damage to the other side. Actually, these Locusts in here doing massive amounts of damage to the mineral line. And now getting up on these Immortals before they have a chance to micro out of this. Zealots being warped in on top of the Swarm Host. More Queens kind of sitting idle right now. Need to be getting damage on where they can. A whole round of Swarm Hosts now being used to clear out and defend. That's always something you want to do. You want to keep these Swarm Hosts and Locusts focus on your army rather than your economy. But those same ones that were brought to defend with the Zealots, able to take out an Immortal there. And a series of Swarm Hosts bring in to the natural, almost all probes sitting here in the natural, overmining a bit as these Immortals are actually kind of out of position. Getting a Queen, though, for their efforts, doing tons of damage here. I would like to see some some queens healing themselves. There's so much energy there. I think he's trying to micro in so many directions. Even he's being pulled apart as he attempts to pull his opponent apart. And actually, these off-cycle Swarm hosts a few now to handle this immortal. That one lone immortal taking actually only taking 2 locusts to deal with, and this one immortal actually kind of maybe walking in the wrong direction, in the wrong neighborhood there. Nicro, as you need to find yourself back home. Long distance mining now. As on the other side of this warp prism coming in here, a couple zealots being morphed in, trying to get some damage done on the other side, but there's still swarm hosts and queens to handle this. Nicro, and this is why we saw some of that missed micro on the other end. We just missed a few moments of this warp prism trying to get damage done on the other side of the map. Not quite a base trade right now. As Gotquail's in a fantastic position here to juggle back and forth. No bases up for his opponent. No minerals being mined. And there's the GG. Extremely well played series by Nicro. Gotquail will move on to the finals. He's taking it 3-2 from his opponent. Were you able to watch that game?
I was.
Those swarm hosts are disgusting.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of disgusting Zerg units, quite frankly.
Oh, well, why don't you tell me about all the disgusting Zerg units?
Really, all of them.
All of them. That being said, I'll invite you to the party, and we'll get into the second set and get to the meat. I'm gonna pause it real quick, turn on a little bit of music, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back, and we have our second set of games in the semifinals. It's going to be Riser versus Exiled. Now, as I was just starting to say earlier, before I realized the YouTube people might also want to hear this, excuse me, a lot of the people here are telling me that, a lot of all-ins telling me that Riser here is heavily favored, but Exiled has the kind of play that I remembered. Like the micro, if you remember, he was the one who was doing that heavy stasis ward play with the blink micro and just constantly using stasis wards to keep his opponent's army, well, stasis, if you will. So I'm actually really excited about this series of games. And, you need to be a party member, eh? Let's go ahead and invite you to the party.
Accepted.
All right, so game number 1 is going to be on Black-Pink. And
no LE?
Black-Pink LE.
Oh, okay.
That just means a ladder edition.
Oh, is that what that means?
Mm-hmm.
I knew that.
Yeah, buddy. So we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to go ahead and kill our additional music now that I have a second person. And yeah, I'm stoked. I'm effing stoked.
Ooh. I'm digging Exile's picture though.
It's oh god, I think it's like young Jim Raynor is what that was supposed to be.
Who's Jim Raynor?
Oh man. It's just the main character for the single player. So this map and these players, we're dealing with PvP, right? We're dealing with a small ramp into a large ramp, very good for defensive play, especially given that these are both Protoss. We're going to be dealing with walls on both sides. You know, the first set's always going to be to the defense. But both of these races have lots of opportunities to drop things in, to come around from angles around the wall. And that's probably one of Protoss's big weaknesses, is a lot of their defense is concentrated at the wall. But without talking about it too much, why don't you kick off the introductions?
All right. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner?
Sure.
Do that?
Yeah.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, wearing the purple, hoping to rise to the top like heavy cream, it's Riser.
His opponent. Oh, there we go. His opponent in the top right-hand corner. Microstasis Ward King for days. It is Exiled. All right. So, looks like a double gateway. I expect we're going to see mirror builds here, because every time I watch a PvP match, they do the exact same thing, almost the exact same building placements. So, we're taking all the right lessons from the pros here.
Yeah, I think he got some scouting off. I don't know what all he saw.
I think he's just saying that him and his opponent are very much on the same path. Yeah, none of them. All you're looking for here is he going to cheese me?
Right. Is he not building anything at home and saving up to put like 10 cannons on my base?
Right. Is there a forge down somewhere that I have to worry about? And it's even easier when you're doing these mirror builds, that if you just don't see a building, and let's say you see almost everything's normal, but you're missing a building, that means that building is somewhere else. Because he had the money to spend to drop a Stargate, somewhere off on the map. So, really hard if you're doing a lot of good scouting as a Protoss to pull some of those things off. But you can see both of them in this is PvP matchup, right?
Council. Is that early?
It's the first tech structure. I would say this pylon here is for building, your first path, right? What do you want to do?
Right.
What we see in response here is robotics facility. So 2 different tech trees. So maybe some drop play on this side. Twilight Council over here is, maybe Blink, depending on what units we start to see. A couple Stalkers here. 4 Exiled kind of going to be the defense on this high ground.
Right. I think Riser's is about to take a second, as is... Oh my goodness. Exiled. Yeah.
So take a look at these crit pylons. So if you ever see this makeup on one pylon, know that this is the most important pylon, the Artosis pylon of this game, at least of this moment. That's why we saw on the other side Riser throwing down another pylon behind the mineral line. I mean, they both have pylons back there. Oh, Dark Shrine has gone down, so looks like he's going to be cheeky. Or Archons, don't get me wrong, or Archons. But as I was saying, this pylon here is supporting a different tech structure. So it takes 2 pylons, right? So this is not the most important pylon for Riser. It doesn't have all his hopes and dreams on it. And there's the second pylon now. He knows he's got to put down, just because there's just so much depending on this first piece. And opting for the Immortal first.
Did you see the
this is
go down out in where the third is by Riser?
Oh, thank you. So it looks like we are going to see the Dark Templar come into play here, and he doesn't have observers at the moment. He's got the robotics facility, so he can bring out an observer, and really, it gets dangerous the more units that come out of this that aren't observers. Yep, behind his.
Dark Templar Blink too.
Okay, and there he's going for a Warp Prism. Oh, is he going Dark Templar Blink?
He hasn't upgraded yet, but I just forgot that was something he'd given him.
There we go. And now we have the Dark Templar, and there's nothing to respond. He actually cancels the Warp Prism and starts with the Observer now. And these Dark Templar are trying to find some damage. There we go. Now they're in the mineral line. He's actually queued up to attack all the probes. I like that. And he's hoping to... Yeah, there you go. That constant... there goes the Observer, and they're going to push them away. Not getting anything done with the army. Not with the shield battery. I'm not sure about that play.
He got one measly drone.
Yeah, and now he's got to deal with the counterattack. Like, if that doesn't work, he's just behind. And he's going to send more GTs, but they just don't do well on a fight.
Well, I don't know. I think this one might be able to do some stuff as Exiled sent his army across.
True. He's there. He's going to push him back. There's nothing to stop them from getting... Oh, there we go. There's the Observer on the ramp, so the Stalkers are going to see it. One's going to be able to sneak in. And he's going to pull him apart a little bit before he gets this attack started on the other side. And he's going to have to micro both sides.
Probes down on the bottom one.
Yep.
He just cleaned up all the probes down there.
A good push here by Exiled. But that shield battery keeping the Immortal alive just a little longer. Deciding whether or not he needs to pull probes. Poking at the Nexus is something. But this attack with the shield batteries is going to push Exiled back. Let's take a look around.
Warp Prism coming across for Exile here.
Nope, I do see that now. Looks like he's trying to reinforce a push and keep the fight on this side. Keeping just these, if anything, these Dark Templar did force an observer at home and an observer forward. These are, and now we could use them for Archon switches if he needs to. But we are gonna get a little bit of pressure. It's hard to tell.
Also, in your chat, RTRRTTGFFGB asks if you can post a link.
Hey, just go ahead and post it in my Discord, and I'll have Gunner take a look at it and post it.
I can do that.
I think there's a way to like allow a link
I'll work on
temporarily for 30 seconds.
So they brought everything back home. Why? What exactly is the reasoning? Brought it back home. No need to poke anymore. Or just
Maybe he sees this attack. He sees that he needs to handle something coming his way. You know, any number of things where he's just not. If he's not going to do something with his army across the map, it might just be better to be over here.
Thought for a second he was going to try and sneak down into that third.
Yeah, we're going to send that hallucinated Phoenix over. He's going to know the army's there. I love the Disruptor here. Some good Disruptor hits could change this game. But a couple Stalkers coming over to try to pull... Oh, great hits there. The Stalkers actually can't... He can't do this. He can't leave the Stalkers to micro... there we go. He's actually going to pull the Stalkers back up here while his army retreats.
Oh, did he just...
I believe he recalled them all back, yep, if I'm watching the minimap right. And a couple Dark Templar over here. Going to try to get something done, but the Observer is in the place to handle it. Getting out of there before the Disruptor shot and flying out of here with the Warp Prism. Looks like he's going to get away with a couple kills. And he's going to position himself nice and safely and come back another day. You can see all the army kind of sitting around the Nexus there. They were able to recall back. Dropping a Stargate. More gates are in production. I like the tech options that Riser seems to have, and both of them really trying to secure a third base now, which may be difficult with this pylon down here. We don't know yet. More harass going up here on the top. Ooh, this Warp Prism just getting away. You never know. Like, is that far enough? It's the edge of the map. Can I fly farther? Am I out of range? But it looks like we have a Zealot. It's going to come over here and at least cause a little bit of a headache. Nope. Hoping he doesn't get seen. A couple Dark Templar warping in behind this as the main army push for Exiled moves to the middle of the map.
I don't think he knows that the pylon's even there yet. So I think it was a good hold off there. Warp Prism warping in for Stalkers in the backside there.
I see that, yeah.
4v2 down, and 2 more getting warped in behind. 4v3, 4v2. Gonna clean him up and look to move on.
Ooh, looks like he's hoping he's gonna get this Warp Prism now. Even though he takes the fight with the Stalkers, he doesn't have enough to continue the pressure, and the Warp Prism can't bring in anymore. We actually have a couple Dark Templar coming to... Oh! Disruptor shots.
For the third too.
They got the entirety of the third. I like that multitasking by Riser. It's hard to tell who's in the best position here, but we can see that the army supply is in Riser's favor. He's doing a lot of damage to that Nexus. It looks like he's gonna get it.
Yeah. And here comes Riser's army on the bottom to respond to everything.
Pushing this away, pushing Exiled out of this position, saving the Nexus.
Ooh, and they'll catch the Disruptor.
Yeah,
there.
nice lift on the Disruptor. And if we take a
Did you
look,
recall it?
no, he definitely got the Disruptor, but at least when Exile did this push, he got the workers. You can see he cleared out all the workers here in the third before coming back home and remaking his own.
Exiled again, start that third up. I still don't think he has vision of that. The cheeky pylon, as it's called, I guess. Yeah.
All right, I love these.
Send this over.
Yeah. Now the Dark Templars here. Is there? I don't see an observer in the battlefield. Just a matter of time before he gets one over there. Assuming he might have lost it in the fight, which is would be really unfortunate. As we take a look at the production tab, there it is. Oh,
Maybe canceled afterwards. Oh
All right. Well, that does what he needed to do, even if he didn't get the kill. Forces his opponent to make that mistake.
He found the pylon, however, there's aggression coming down with the second now.
And he's sandwiched here. He has to decide. He's got to commit to this now. He's going to be forced to get as much damage done as he can. But maybe this is game-ending damage, depending on where he's at. That's a lot of Immortals. Immortal Stalker is not getting the second base there. Even if he were to fight this off, he'd have to finish it off quickly. Exiled's in a very dangerous position. Even supply block now. So much damage on those Immortals as he backs up to wait for the next set of disruptor shots. Riser knows he can't take that again. Yeah, even microing back. Getting it.
And will the third base be canceled again? I would assume so. At this rate, at least.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage being thrown down here, and looks like he's gonna get the kill, not even the cancel.
Yeah, 2 Archons go down to disruptors of the army there.
Yep.
Orbital fallen. More disruptor shots coming in.
Ooh.
God, well done. And then reinforcements are coming across the map here for Riser. Takes damage, doesn't kill it though. But yeah, Riser's definitely. I think Riser's in a pretty good spot right about here. Yeah.
I'm really liking it. I'm really liking his position. He even had he was constantly producing back at home. He's getting onto his 4th. His opponent is long distance mining. He's only got 7 useful probes on his main. Good disruptor shot there.
I think it comes down to disruptor shots.
I mean, that's what he needs to save this, and he's getting all of them. Actually, the good lift ups.
Pick up, 1, 2, 3.
And this might be all she wrote. This beginning of the end here is, even though those were the best shots you could hope for, Riser takes game number 1, pretty decisively. Good games. Let's go ahead and give that 1-3 or 1-0 to Riser. What was your favorite part of that?
I honestly liked the cheeky little pylon there and the amount of kind of harass damage he was able to get from such a little investment.
Sure.
I think that definitely helped out a lot, because I know there was a time early on when he cleaned out that second base completely of drones with a Dark Templar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that definitely helped snowball the win, if you will. And then I think the pickups on the disruptors too were really good.
I mean, that's they're dangerous units, and they can get a lot done. And they were getting a lot done. So sadly, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for Exiled. As we've seen before, his control of these Protoss units and their abilities throughout the entire game was fantastic. But I think he was.
Oh wait, no.
No.
I thought it said Zerg Protoss.
But yeah, we've seen his command of those units, and we saw even in that match, even against somebody who had a commanding macro advantage that we saw out of Riser. We're going to go into game number 2, which is Catalyst LE. All right. So this map, I like them all. And this one just kind of sits in that middle ground of nothing exciting for me. But people love their standard. That's why we get so many of it. Taking a look at the map itself. Okay, 1 second. It's not tabbing over. Okay. Taking a look at the map itself. This is another one of those small ramps from the main into the natural with a big opening from the natural out to the rest of the world, and options for the third. Now, most common third is taken along the bottom of the screen, and the fourth being up here at the top, and then the fifth is either forward here or horizontal down here based on your opponent and your race. But lots of nice little dead spaces behind the potential fourth for drop stuff. All big, dark, open areas where you can gather your army up before moving in. So maybe we'll see some interesting play. Maybe we'll see something quick. I do think we're going to see the same openers we saw last time. But that being said, why don't you kick us off with our introductions?
Alrighty. Let's see. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, picking up the first win just moments ago, the Protoss exiled.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, the purple Protoss. It is All-In's Riser. He's hoping to take back the pace. He needs to take back the pace of this game. Needs to get a win off, kind of like we watched Got Quail pull around last time in the last series. Kind of has to not let Exiled continue. I say continue to be in the lead, obviously, but it's really tough to come back 2-0. Reverse all kill.
The reverse sweep.
Reverse sweep.
Cinderella story.
So if you look back at the main of Exiled, right?
Yes.
There's a little sticker now that says "Good luck, have fun." You see that?
Yes.
So that's the spray paint now that probes get to do. This is like the nicest BM you could perform, because you're saying that I have the extra APM to spray paint your base. This will do nothing to help me. Now, when they first introduced this paint, it was interesting because you could spray paint on using the minimap, right?
Yeah.
And so you would click your probe, you would spray paint, and you click the minimap to paint somewhere. And if you were clicking on a nexus, it would say unable to paint there. Right? Now this is important because in a game of when you don't have known starting locations.
Right.
So if your opponent can spawn in any of 3 locations, and you can just click a paint on each of them to determine which one.
That's busted.
Yeah. That lasted like a week when these sprays first came out.
So that'll be a patch.
Very quickly.
Yep.
So it looks like we have Stalker production, kind of a constant Stalker production coming out of Riser as the Stargate finishes up. His opponent on the other side opted for the Twilight Council first, but no constant production here. So shield battery and a lot of Stalkers. He's being really defensive. And this is the style differences I talk about very often between Korean players and the rest of the world is, especially North American, we play defensively. We try to be able to play a game so solid that we have no weakness. And the Koreans, on the other hand, are aggressive, and they dictate the pace and the tempo of the game. And that might be the difference we're seeing right now, or just baseless speculation. But we do see 3 Stalkers, a Sentry, and a Shield Battery, which, unless there's an early attack, the Shield Battery ends up being... it's just going to slow you down, right? He's going to see that. He's going to see the Stalkers. He's going to see Twilight Council. He's going to see Blink. His response to this on the other end, Riser's got. He's actually getting a fair number of Phoenix out, and Phoenix are great, great harassment. They're great mid game, as long as you have the microform. You do not like them?
As a Zerg, I do not like them. No. They always ruin my day. All
right, we're taking a look up here. The gateway, finishing up just now for Exile, is going to allow for very fast warp ends. So it looks like he is just trying to put on fast pressure. These Phoenixes actually coming in here doing a lot of damage, and all his army's on the other side of the map. So I mean, this all in might be exactly all in here. So he has to decide to bring these Phoenixes back to support this fight, or keep them on the other side and try to ruin his army's his opponent's economy. Taking a few shots at the shield battery, hoping to get that down. One Phoenix showing up to try to do some damage, getting taken off. Oh yeah, and there goes the shield battery. It's out of energy anyway, so just a little bit of wasted lasers.
Pew pew.
Pew pew. Do we pay by the laser now?
No, by the sound effect.
More Stalkers coming in to aid this. Getting the lift off, and you get a good lift off. Yeah. It's going to be these Immortals that are coming out now. They're going to help change this game. You need a significant number of Stalkers to fight this off. And one-on-one, this is not a fight that Exiled wins, as long as Riser can get to a good position. As long as you get all his things down the ramp and fighting. This is going to have to push Exiled back to regroup. That Blink Micro, saving a few Stalkers, getting the lift off on one, forcing a fight. Now blinking forward on the Immortal. There it is. But so many blinks, so many... Yeah, there were just so many damaged Stalkers. He can't finish this fight another mortal actually on the playing field here. But behind it, he's still macroing up. He's still making the probes. This isn't necessarily an all-in for him, especially with the amount of damage he was able to get done there. Exiled is still in a fighting position. Even more workers than his opponent. This is not a fight he can sustain. He's got to back up. Trying to blink him away.
He's going to lose that pylon and gate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, gate, I was right.
It looks like the blinking up here to get some Phoenixes. A little bit of miss micro here by Riser. Exile doing a fantastic job of at least keeping the pressure. I think I've actually been mixing my words up and mixing these two up a little bit. As I say, Riser meaning Exiled. Oh, yeah, Blink does a good job of hunting that down. So Exiled's in a rougher position because the attack wasn't as effective as it needed to be. Riser was able to push that out and get the tech he needed. There we go. Those are the words I was looking for, but behind this, more gateways being thrown down for Exiled.
Okay. What tech do you think Exiled would benefit from at this point? Making Archons now. Is that the move? Or?
Well, take a look at everything that's going on. He's definitely going heavy gates, so he wants to have the production to be on the other side of the map because I don't think he's comfortable in the long game here.
Right. I agree.
So Immortals is kind of rough because he's always going to be behind in the Immortal tech. I don't know. I think maybe this Archon is the move. I think he's in a very tough position unless Riser opens up a weakness.
Or does it go Disruptors?
No, I could see Disruptors.
I think Disruptors, high risk, high reward, and fun to watch.
They're just not the end game that they used to be, right?
Right.
It looks like he's posturing to take a third. This is sort of forward pylon over there. Probe in position to chill out in the middle of the map. It's probably his forward probe. He's forgotten about it by now. But the army actually deciding to, there you go, regroup a little bit, pull back and forth. This dance here about where to engage. But I'm surprised we haven't seen a second base from Riser or any kind of move out. He's kind of sitting back, and he's got the army to obliterate what's popping up to his front door.
Yeah.
Like, good, quick response there by Riser. Behind this, Riser is popping out more Immortals.
So
there we go.
Archives are down. What do the Templar Archives do?
They give you Templars, which gives you Archons, which gives you Storm.
Right.
Well, Archons don't give Storm, but the Templar Archives do. All these Immortals are moving down. Even though you like to have things to tank things for your Archons, they are still tanks on their own right. And there's just so many Archons, like one Archon, more than one Archon per Stalker here. As he's going to chase this army all the way back home, it looks like. Even pulling back with a Phoenix now. Getting poked with the Phoenix. Which, there we go. There's the Templar.
There's a War Prison coming down too. Riser Warp in at the doorstep.
Oh, yep, I see it. Thank you. See, this is what he gets for not, getting that Warp Prism earlier and doing some mid-game harasses. When he marches across the map, he has a disgusting number of Immortals. We kind of watch the Immortal health now. They're doing fantastic things. And there's a GG, and Exile taps out one more time, bringing it 2-0 in favor of Exiled.
Wait, what?
I mean, in favor of Riser. Words are hard. All right, we're getting into game number 3 now. This one's Backwater. This is, again, my Louisiana map.
On your graphic thing, it said that Exile has won the last game.
Okay, then that's my mistake, and I will fix it as well. Probably why I was screwing up words.
I was really confused too because I was like, I thought, oh, okay, maybe I was wrong.
Nope, 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 nope.
And then choke on that food over here.
All right, we're going to invite you to this game. Next one is, I said, on Blackwater. So game number 3 is we determine who goes to the All-Invitational Grand Finals. Nope, let's go ahead and take a quick look at all in chat.
Who are they against? Got Quail?
They are against... Oh, sorry, what? Oh, Got Quail, yes. Got Quail. Yeah, Got Quail took that match. So I'm going to hit watch. I'm sorry, I was looking at chat. All right, getting into Backwater LE. It's going to be a long day of StarCraft matches, by the way. I think after this, depending on what's going on, I might even be playing StarCraft. So it looks like Riser took both those games, and I got all that set up. And we're into the game now. Why don't you just kick it off with our introductions?
All right. Well, let's see. Spawning in the top right corner in the sky blue. Looking to Cinderella story this comeback is the All-In Exile.
All right, his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, the Purple Protoss, hoping to close this out and 3-0 his opponent. The favorite for this game, it is Riser. All right. Seeing that nice one-gate pylon opening. Now, the awesome thing here is Riser could just drop a Forge 3 games in a row and practice his cannon rushes, and he would probably get 1 game. He has the flexibility to bully, the flexibility to experiment. He's got to be feeling really confident right now. What do you do as Exiled in this position?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I don't know too much about Protoss, honestly. I know. For me personally, I feel like a lot of times you get down in these 2-0 situations and
You just give up and go home?
no, you get too much into your head and you're afraid to try things.
Okay.
And I think when you're down 2-0, I think maybe it's not the best, thing to do, but I think that's the time you got nothing to lose. Like maybe pull something funky out, something nobody's expecting.
Yeah.
You're down 2-0, you got nothing to lose. Like go for it. Do you have fun? Do your thing.
Well, we are seeing a forward pylon. Neither one of them has expanded yet. It looks like he's waiting for his opponent to expand, dropping out of depths this time. Right out of the gate. So depths and stalkers. It's a little bit of a split up there. The first deviation, aside from this pylon. Now the forward pylon didn't work for him so well, as we talked about before. We all practice defending everything with our styles. And he's going to try to get across the map and do something with these adepts.
And
Twilight Council.
Putting a Twilight Council.
Yeah, hoping to hide some tech.
Yeah.
In such a weird spot too, because it's not on the edge of the map. It's just not in the
main walkway.
Right. It's not the main walkway. It's on the edge of the map. And it's even a good place for forward warp ins if that's what you're trying to accomplish. But he's definitely trying to be cheeky with what I have to only assume is Dark Shrine coming down any moment now.
It's like it's like just in the side.
So many of those going down, warping over. So many kills there, and I didn't get the count of the last one. Oh, going down with at least 4 kills, one of them. All right, so here we go. Here's that second building. I expect we're going to see a Dark Shrine. Not only is he hidden the tech for it, he's in the tech path. Now, the problem is his opponent knows something's out there. He was just in his base. Maybe he thinks that pressure dealt so much damage that...
He missed that.
Right. Oh, it looks like he's just hiding Blink. Looks like he's just trying to hide Blink all in on 2 bases. Warp gate's about to finish up. We're going to get some warp ins there, some stalkers moving across the map. And they see the Oracle. And they're going to go back home. All right, and there's a gateway, so the warpins are going to be swift. And he's going to see his opponent still doesn't have a second base, and his response is got to be a defensive one. It's got to be one of unit production. There we go. So he's going to do some bop in there.
Did they get it?
He did.
They get it. Nice.
And he was able to highlight those stalkers. Highlight.
Revealed.
Was that?
It gives it vision. Yeah.
Yes. He gives him vision on his base. He's got to expand, and he's got to show that he's expanding. If any kind of pressure is going to work.
Right.
And if any kind of failed pressure, I love the Void Ray. Even I didn't see the Stargate go down. I was focused on everything else on the map, but the Void Ray down for Riser is going to give him a lot of good options, a lot of defensive options, especially with that shield battery. It can tank a lot more damage. He's checking over here in his third, trying to find where the pressure is going to come from. See, there is nothing hidden there. And actually another pylon going down. And in an effort to be able to sustain his forward momentum.
Robotics facility and observer coming out. And another Void Ray and then another Oracle's coming out.
So it's all going to be on the shield battery. This pressure is good pressure. A lot of damage there from the Void Ray. He wanted to be up there forward taking shots as that shield battery was taking the damage for him. But just a bunch of really damaged stalkers right now, starting to nothing dying. Another gateway down in production. Riser actually taking a significant amount of damage here. Exile's got to be feeling pretty good, but actually losing a couple too many stalkers as probes are being pulled back, sacrificing a lot to get those Void Rays. Yeah.
Oracle coming across the map, though.
He does have an Oracle coming over, and he's going to see there is no natural now. This is definitely an all-in. That was a absolutely fake natural. Put his opponent at a little bit of ease. Immortal in production. Almost about to come out.
Oracle sitting on 10 kills now. 11.
Oh, yep. As he's knocking away probes, making this
12,
an even more disgusting all-in. It's only 7 workers. He can lose his base, and he's done so much economic damage. Not only to Exile, but Exile done it to himself.
Yeah.
This base doesn't matter.
Good lord.
Yeah, you can't even attack me right now. Oh, there's the blink.
Oracle has 20 kills.
Another Immortal coming out just as one falls down, and there's the GG, and Exile taps out to Riser, and Riser will move on to the Grand Finals. Wait, what music's currently queued up? What music's currently queued up? Let's see it. There we go. All right, that was a fantastic series. Let me go ahead and fix that score. Everybody, thanks for watching. Riser did exactly what everybody told me he was going to do.
Yeah, you have little faith.
You have little faith, okay. But what we are going to be doing, though, is the All-Invitation Civil War. In about, I'll give it, I'll do a 15-minute timer. You good for that? How long do I have you for there, Connor?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go over here. Stream starting soon. Let's go ahead and, where you at? Let's do this. Oh, I still need that. Open Spotify. Oh. Before I'm all over the place. Let me close this out for YouTube. Hey, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Call me garbage. Call me fantastic. Tell me how I can prove how you want to do it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Go play some StarCraft.